Hey guys, and welcome to another Art Extra. Um, I think that you guys will like this project because it's meant to be a source of encouragement to people that maybe we know or in our community that are helping all of us medically during this time. I'm wearing my Batman sweatshirt because he is one of my favorite superheroes. And this project is called Health Worker Hero. Today, if you turn on the TV or listen to the news or even hear people talk, there's a lot of talk about workers on the front lines in the healthcare profession, maybe CNAs, nurses, physician's assistants, doctors, all of those people that are still going to work and taking care of all of us, as well as people who are sick right now. And they're doing a very admirable job taking care of all of us and putting themselves in harm's way sometimes. They're always heroes, regardless of what is going on right now. They're always people to look up to that invest so much time and energy in making sure that we are safe and healthy. And one reason I decided to do this project is obviously what is going on in the world around us, but another reason is a seventh grader challenged other people to make posters of encouragement for workers like postal delivery people, FedEx, UPS, retail workers, and nurses. She had this idea to make posters and put them in her window, and she sent me one. So when I saw this project last week, I thought it kind of fit with her challenge, even though it's for healthcare workers. Of course, you could alternate it. You could make it for a delivery person. You could just change the picture if you want. But it's just kind of like a challenge of encouragement, maybe. Maybe you have a family member that is a worker in the healthcare field or any of these jobs that are still going to work while most of us are in quarantine. And this is meant to encourage them. So I'm including this little sheet, this little drawing guide that shows you how to draw this simple cartoon healthcare worker. It's going to be attached to the link. It's super simple. Obviously, it's a little cartoon, and all the supplies you need for this project is just paper. This is my sketchbook, colored pencils, which I have right here. I have a bunch of colored pencils right here, pencil, and I did use a Sharpie and an eraser. That's it. That's all you need. And of course, if you want to do this in some other medium, you could use crayons or paint if you want. I just thought colored pencil was most fitting for this. Now, within this lesson, we talk about proportion because we are drawing a face, even though it's a cartoon face. And so I just want to go over a little bit of proportion with you. Now, proportion is the way that things relate to each other in a picture, how they relate to a whole, how they fit together. And when we talk about just basic face proportions, and we've talked about this in classes in the past, we place our eyes about halfway from the crown of our head up here. It's about halfway down where our eyes are, from our crown to our chin. So from up here to our chin, it's about halfway. Not quite, but about halfway. And one awesome thing about this picture is if you're intimidated by drawing a face, even though it's cartoon, you don't have to worry about drawing the end of the nose or the mouth at all. So this picture starts, and you'll see in your drawing guide, with just a simple U shape, which is what I did first. I just drew the curve of the face. And then after that, I started by drawing the eyes. Now, a little tip I'll give you about drawing eyes. I always draw the top curve of both eyes first before I move to the bottom. And we've went over this in class before, but for the reason for this is that I think it's easier to draw the same parts of the eye on both sides and work on both eyes at the same time rather than drawing the full eye on one side and trying to replicate that on the other. I think that gets a little bit challenging, and it's easier to draw the same part of one eye and then go on to the other eye and try to replicate that than to replicate the entire eye. I find that easier. And that's what this drawing guide recommends is doing as well. So once you draw the top curve of the eye, then you can draw the bottom. It just seems to be easier to make them balanced if you do it that way. Now, I always use a ruler when I do the eyes so that I can make sure that my eyes are the same width. And sometimes I also do the same vertically. I'll measure and make sure they're pretty close. It's just an easy thing you can do that takes a little effort at all to make sure they're exactly the same. Because if you look at the human face, it is symmetrical. Maybe not exactly symmetrical, but it's pretty close. Some of us have an eye that's bigger than the other. I know that I do. But if you look at me, you're probably not going to notice it immediately. So we want to make sure our eyes are pretty equal. And that's true for different parts of your face as well. It's helpful to take a ruler and measure were your eyes equal distance from the side of your face. Were they equal distance from your nose? Rulers are always helpful for that. This is a super basic cartoon, so you don't have to get too detailed with it. Just a nice tip for the eyes to work through the same step on both eyes at the same time. I think that's helpful. Same thing with the eyebrows and the ears. And to notice about the ears, if you could even do this yourself, if you reach down here to the bottom part of your eye and go across, you hit about midway down your ear. So when you go to draw your eye, make sure your ear is you don't want to make your ear up here, like way up here on your head or way down here. You want to make sure it is proportionate to how a face really looks. Anyways, another tip when drawing this, you want to make sure in one of the steps, it's step 5, after you draw all the face and the little mask, you want to make sure that when you draw the stethoscope that's hanging down here, and mine is kind of running off the page, you want to make sure that you draw the stethoscope before you draw the scrubs that your healthcare worker is wearing. That's the step before drawing the shoulders, because the stethoscope is overlapping these shoulders and coming down the shoulders and the chest. So we want to draw those first. We're going to draw the curved lines coming out from behind the neck. Another thing that I'll say is, if you're like me, a lot of times I draw big. I write big when I am writing something handwritten. And I kind of get panicked if I think I'm drawing too big and I'm running out of room on my page. But something that I always tell you is to let your picture naturally flow off the page. Don't get to the boundary of the page and try to scrunch whatever it is you're drawing there. It won't look right. So for me, as I was drawing this, I thought I don't have enough room to draw my full stethoscope, and that's fine. I just let it flow off the page. And that makes things look more proportionate if you do that, instead of trying to fit it in a place it's not going to fit. You don't want to cut it off by trying to force it into an area and making it way too small than it actually is. Now, as a last step for this, to make it look kind of not flat, but a little 2 or 3 dimensional, is to layer your colored pencil. Now, ideally, to do this project, I would have some nice Prismacolors, because I could have created some really nice blending with those. But I did not have them, and my favorite store to go to, Michael's, was closed, so I couldn't go there. So I used the colored pencils that I have at home, and these are nice colored pencils. It's a big box, but they don't blend like a Prismacolor does. So I tried to blend the colors and layer them. As you can notice, I didn't just put a layer of blue over the top of my cap. I put a darker bluish violet, blue-violet, around the edges, and then I took some sky blue and went over that, and then I did a very, very light layer of blue up here at the top to create the highlight. I did that for the hair. I wanted to kind of for her to have like strawberry blonde hair, so I did like golds, yellows, oranges, and reds. For the scrubs, I had 3 different bluish shades. I just layered my colors, and I did try to blend them. These colored pencils did not blend super well, but I tried. If you have Prismacolors and you have that Blendle, I think it's a blender colored pencil, that will help you a lot to achieve that. I did not have a nice peachy or skin tone color for this girl, so I used a tan color and some deep browns lightly over here to create some shading in the face. Something else you'll notice that I did is I took a fine point Sharpie and a normal Sharpie, and I outlined several of the areas so that different facial features wouldn't be lost, like the eyelashes, the kind of the folds of the hair. So that's always something I have you guys do to pull out the extra details. And then you can kind of create whatever background you want. I did this kind of vital sign background. I got that idea from the lesson plan I followed. You could just create create a medical background if you wanted to. Maybe you know someone who's a doctor, nurse, physician, CNA, and you would like to write them a note thanking them. Maybe you want to make a banner around their head. I don't know. I hope that you use this project to encourage people you know that are in this field of work, that are working hard, probably more than they ever have, while a lot of us are at home. I hope you enjoy this project, and I would like to see some of the signs you come up with, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week.